Welcome back. It's time to talk about what happened on The Bachelor this week.
No.
No?
If you want The Bachelor, I'd got my girls out of school and they would break it all down for you. All right. But if we want to go brisket with Frank and the boys, I could do that all. Fantastic. All those restaurants are great.
Yeah.
Are great.
Fantastic. All right. We're talking, of course, college basketball and so many conference tournaments happening this week, of course, because Selection Sunday is coming up. So let's talk ACC tournaments in our backyard.
Before we start the ACC,
yes.
I want to give Davidson some love. I mean,
yes.
Noon today in the Atlantic 10. They're in the Atlantic 10 for the first time ever. This is the first
making
year.
A statement.
They're the #1 seed, Bob McKillop's guys. So they get LaSalle high noon to start things off in the A-10. So let's give Davidson some love before we go all this old school, old money ACC, SEC action that you always. Because I know we're going to talk about your dogs eventually.
Yes, we are going to talk about the dogs in Kentucky and all that good stuff.
Right.
Let's talk ACC first.
Go ahead.
It's right up the road in Greensboro. Okay, so the 4 teams still alive: North Carolina, Virginia, Notre Dame, and Duke.
Pretty good.
Duke, I mean, an easy win last night. Did Okafor even play?
Well, he didn't have to.
Exactly.
You know, NC State is purely schizophrenic. I mean, they are the most whacked out team. They're great the night before against Pittsburgh. You go, hey, you know what? They may have a chance to beat Duke. You turn it on, Duke's up 30 for crying out loud. Duke looked out of sight last night.
Do you think you'll see Virginia and Duke in the final?
Well, that would be chalk. That would be the 1 seed against the 2 seed.
Exactly.
Virginia's got to get healthy. I mean, that is their issue. Justin Anderson, he coursed back yesterday, but again, I don't know if he's at 100% basketball strength. Virginia, I think, has their hands full with North Carolina. The Heels look like they're motivated a little bit. Got a little mojo going here.
Yeah.
But Virginia, the #1 seed. But if you do get Virginia-Duke in the ACC final on Saturday night, that'll be a great game.
Of course, you can watch that game live on WBTV, so put that shameless plug in there. Let's talk the SEC tournament. Of course, Kentucky looking to win out in that tourney, but there's some dangerous teams here looking to upset them, don't you think?
You mean like the Georgia Bulldogs?
Yes,
is that what you're trying to tell me?
of course.
Listen, it's Kentucky and everybody else. No disrespect. But the crazy thing about the SEC right now, of course, it's the quarterfinals. You have 4 games today.
Right.
But 3 of the 8 teams that are left are double-seeded teams. Tennessee, South Carolina, Auburn. Go figure. They've found a way to get to this position, but it's Kentucky and everybody else at this point in time in Nashville.
Okay. Do you any predictions on potential at-large teams out of the SEC if Kentucky does win out?
Well, Kentucky, let's say they take care of business. The team that did not help themselves, Texas A&M, on the bubble, lose the first game. Ole Miss last night loses to South Carolina. Those 2 teams kind of on the bubble. Have to wait and see on Sunday. Now, listen. Sunday, Selection Sunday, everybody fills out their brackets. I read this week 40 million Americans, 40 million, are going to fill out a bracket. 70 million brackets will be filled out on Sunday.
I wonder how much money that's going to be worth.
$9 billion will be wagered on the NCAA tournament this year. $9 billion. Now listen, 70 million filled out. President Obama received 66 million votes. There are going to be 70 million brackets filled out. All right, that is a fact.
Politicians are jealous.
I'm just telling you what the deal is, and I will promise you this: a week from today, 69.9999 million brackets will be in the trash can. That's just the way it works.
I guarantee you, and no work productivity here.
By the way, speaking of no work productivity, I noticed that Al Conklin and John Carter have the ACC flu. That's what we call it around here.
Seriously?
It's funny how guys on Thursdays and Fridays of the ACC, all of a sudden they get the sniffles. They pull a Christine. My throat hurts.
Laryngitis. Can't talk.
Where's my pallet of Girl Scout cookies to try to get through? All of a sudden by Monday we're good to go. But it just happens. That ACC flu hits all the time this time of the year.
All of a sudden, right? Hey, let's quickly try to get the Big Ten tournament in here because we got lots of hot teams in that one. Wisconsin, Michigan State, Ohio State, all teams trying to look to get into the tourney as well.
And they will. Those teams are good to go. Wisconsin's looking for a #1 seed. That's what that's all about in the Big Ten. I think if they win out, they have a shot. And, of course, the team you love to talk about, your favorite, Jay Wright, the head coach at Villanova.
You see a smile on my face?
I do. The Big East tournament this weekend, of course, they are still alive, and they're in the hunt for 1 seed.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Can't wait for Selection Sunday. Thank you, Pat.
You got it.
We'll be right back after this break.